my kid up from soccer practice. I got a few minutes. Thought I'd just chat, answer a couple questions. I know recent dietary shift has generated a lot of comments and I guess a lot of interest in what the heck am I doing. So I'm just happy to talk about that or anything else. Like I mentioned again, once again, 250,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So thankful to see that. Thanks you guys for doing that. We'll continue to grow and continue to, get the messaging out there that, we need to take back our own individual health and the health of society in general. I mean, I think what we see when you look out there and you just see 50% of the population obese, or something like that. I mean, we're getting close. There's a problem. There's a real societal problem, and it's not just an individual thing. And this is a thing. A lot of people are, maybe they're overweight or they've got chronic illnesses and things like that. And some will say, well, it's not my fault. And for some degree, there is some truth to that. I mean, there are things that happen to people that aren't maybe beyond their control, or they're in situations which, through no fault to their own. And while it may or may not be your fault, it is your problem. And really, no one's going to save you from it. You got to figure this stuff out. Uh, you know, basically on your own with very little support, very, very real support that you're going to get, so having the right strategy, I think is important. All right. So there are a bunch of people, putting their questions in here. So I'm just going to say, hey to everybody. Carnivore Cat saying, get healed up. Thanks, Carnivore Cat. Stefano G, try 7-day fast. Yeah, I mean, I know that could be beneficial. It may come to that down the road. We'll see. I think, like I said, I'm going to just kind of methodically work through different options of healing. I mean, I'm not, like I said, there's certainly a lot of people that are worse off than me that are dealing with stuff, and so I am just generally doing things in a methodic and I think a reasoned way. So anyway, JG, hope you feel better. Thanks, JG. Happy Sunday, Doc, says Jeremy Bergeron. Thanks, Jeremy. Thank you. Why switching away from butter? Well, I haven't yet, but I probably will. I think, honestly, I think some of the dairy in me in general tends to be, arguably a little bit inflammatory. I know it doesn't for everybody. And so I will probably, like I said, I'll probably continue with some butter for a little while. And then potentially, if I don't see relief, switch over to something more of an animal-based fat, like a suet or something like that, which I've done in the past. I just don't have any handy on me right now. So I had a whole bunch of butter in the fridge, and so I thought, well, that's just an easy way to do it. We got Primal Mike saying, hi, family. Hey, Primal Mike, what's going on, man? Tracy Kinzel saying hi. Simon McIntosh from Gibraltar. All right, man. Gibraltar. Fun place to visit at some point. Have not been to Spain yet, so hopefully one day. Shirley Brown saying greetings. Possibly, maybe next year I might get to Spain. Briz Dazzle saying hello. KTD18, the subscribers is just here for the laughs. You come out with some hysterical BS. All right, man. So well, glad to keep you entertained. That's an interesting, it's kind of an interesting concept, It's interesting because I was talking about this morning with our Carnivore Diet group. You think about the people that have influence over our decision making, or at least have a big megaphone. People like Beyonce, LeBron James, Taylor Swift. The entertainers, actors. People. Billionaires, whatever. They have such huge influence over us, and things like health and other things in areas which they arguably don't have much expertise, and you have people that are truly insightful, that don't have much reach. And so how do you get there? Well, unfortunately, you can't just get up there and lecture people. They get they get bored. Hang on a second. I got an emergency text. Sorry, I had to take a break. I got a text message from a guy that's staying in our house, Terry, and I've got a nice ribeye steak in the sous vide. He goes, "Hey man, is that for me?" And I said, "No, it's mine." So he can make himself a different steak. So all right. So yeah, but what I was talking about was, how do you get reach? How do you, and so it's in part it's got to be entertaining. I mean, people are not going to watch you if you're boring all the time. And I know some of my stuff is, arguably boring at times. But I mean, it's like you have to put the entertaining stuff. It's kind of I call it edutainment. So uh you have to capture the audience to even wanna look, and then you can provide the information. Like I said, I'll use, like, my Instagram. My Instagram has I'll put up studies that I think are relevant and important for people to read, and I'll put up some goofy, like, I don't know, trolling vegan meme or something like that. The trolling vegan meme will get 10 times the likes as the actual study will. So it's like, well, what do these people care about? But at least some people are reading the study when you put it up. And if your audience is 1,000, well then maybe 10% of that will read it. But if your audience is 10,000, then 10% of that reads it. So you have a bigger reach. So that's kind of what it's about. So Mark V, hello from Montreal. Well, either bonjour or how's it going, man? Depending on which language you speak there. What else? Carnivore Cat, I try to spread the word. Nobody will listen to me, even though they witness my weight loss. Keep it, Carnivore Cat, just keep it up. I mean, we are making it. There is no doubt there's making it. The New Yorker magazine just came out with yeah, it was it wasn't that much of a hit piece. The hit pieces are becoming more and more anemic because it's getting hard to deny all the people that are getting better, right? I mean, the numbers are many, many thousands now. I mean, you can't deny that people are getting better by doing animal-based diets, carnivore diets, ketogenic. I mean, those numbers are, I mean, if you include ketogenic and low-carb diets in general, those numbers are now in the millions. So you can't deny it. And people see that. And, I think a lot of people have uh, lost faith in the, sort of conventional system, and for good reason. I mean, the results aren't that good. So keep plugging away. Don't get frustrated. Don't give up. You'll get there. You'll make a difference. Simon says you've got a lot of fans in Gibraltar. Well, that's good to know if I ever get to Gibraltar. What are your thoughts on medical mushrooms? I don't know much. I honestly haven't looked much into medical mushrooms, so I can't give you a really good commentary. Some people will say that, meat is food and plants are medicine, and there may be some value in that sort of line of thought. And I guess obviously mushrooms are more accurately described as fungi, but um, yeah, many conventional medicines that we use, even like some of the chemotherapy drugs, are derived from plants. So I mean, there may be some benefit to that. Bradley Allen, hello from Amarillo. Awesome, man. Well, hopefully you maybe been out to the Big Tex and gave that a go out there in Amarillo. There, I've never been to the Big Texan, but maybe one day I'll get there. I wouldn't want to eat the sides, but we got Haslahas, I guess, from Croatia. Well, good to see you from Croatia. I had a great time there last year, spending some time in Dubrovnik. Good place. Like to maybe go back sometime, maybe visit something like Split or something like that. Jennifer, Texas Carnivore. Howdy from Texas, Dr. Bigger. Hope you are having a great Sunday so far at your soccer practice for your son again. Yeah, exactly right. I'm watching him play right now. He's with his coach. He's doing a one-on-one private. His coach, his name is Chris. Good guy. He's a semi-pro soccer player, and he was, I guess, excited. I guess he had a bunch of friends that were following me on, I think, Instagram, and so he's excited. He wants to come to the house and train with me at some point, maybe eat a steak or something like that. So I'd be happy to. So. Lorianne Locke saying hey to everybody. Cynthia Braddock, hey Shawn, that beef and butter looked amazing. Been craving it lately, so I guess I'm a lioness now. How's your neck? It's okay. I mean, it's still like if I still have, unfortunately, if I turn my head a certain way too far, still pretty significant pain. Still got pretty significant numbness in the fingers. But I, I'm I've got the odds are in my favor that this will get better without a surgical treatment. You know, I think I can't remember if I mentioned in the video today, but all comers across the board, when you look at cervical radiculopathy is what I have, for all reasons, 80% of the people get better without any significant intervention. So within about 3 months, right? And so I'm 7 weeks in, so I'm a little bit halfway. Now, if it's still painful 7 weeks in, the odds start to fall down, right? You know, usually what happens is you have the injury and it slowly gets better and better. And if it doesn't get better over a period of time, it's less likely to do so. And a traumatic injury may predict a different outcome than, say, a degenerative outcome. Mine was clearly traumatic. I mean, it wasn't like my spine was weak and it just collapsed. I had, you know, my 250 pounds plus another 200-pound guy literally fall on top of me, you know, onto my head, driving my neck into the ground and flexing it. So it was a really, it would have happened to anybody at any age. I mean, it's not an age thing. It's not a, you know, it's not a tissue integrity thing. It was just a highly traumatic event. And, you know, it's just one of those deals. So you got to heal it up. And so I've been fortunately able to train, still in the gym, still lifting, training, doing some sprints on the bike. I just have to be mindful of how much I move my head around while I'm doing that. And so that's good. And I actually feel good when I'm training. Jason, on the diet change, I've done 48 to 78 2-hour fasts, and the inflammation reduction is significant. Yeah, I mean, that certainly, I think there's a lot of literature that purports that. I became addicted to fasting because, yeah, and I think you can certainly overdo fasting. There's no doubt about it. A lot of people get caught up into that trap, and I think there is some clear benefits from fasting. Some people will say a carnivore diet or ketogenic diets often have a lot of fasting mimetic properties where they mimic fasting in a way. But yeah, there's some of that. This is word Pencom saying, hi, Dr. Baker, I'm a type 2 diabetic. Can I eat boiled eggs and eggs in general? Yeah, sure you can. I think they're a great food. Eggs are, you know, I mean, you know, obviously with the caveat, some people have sensitivities to them, or allergies to them, but I mean, generally, no, eggs are quite good. I mean, for most people. And I think for diabetes, I mean, I would be definitely low carb on diabetes. I mean, I can't believe the American Diabetic Association telling diabetics to eat cookies. I don't know if you guys saw some of that crap. Low carb for sure. Carnivore, you know, keto carnivore, perhaps, you know, and you know, like I said, I've seen some really good results with carnivore, high quality protein, exercise, minimize sedentary behavior, eat earlier in the day. I mean, those are all things I would look into. And again, if anybody wants like a one-on-one consultation, I am available for that. I mean, I think there's a link in the bio. I think YouTube has bios. I think if not, you can go to Shawn. What is it? Shawn-Baker.com, I think is a website I have. You do a 30-minute session and we can chat in detail about whatever. Eating my steak right now, says Euro Wars. Nice. Festimo says the keto diet helped with my neck injury. Yeah, it helps a lot of people. Cynthia Braddock from Jennifer says hi. Jennifer, hi from Texas. Okay, another. Rosemary Michelle, I have a quick question. Well, you should ask it then. I'm just reading through these in order, so I don't know when I get to the next one. So Legacy Tears Strategy says I had some sourdough bread. Now I feel mortal. I'm sorry to hear that. If you're feeling immortal before, that's good. Everyone exit chat and give Doc a thumbs up. Exit the chat. I'm not sure why do you have to exit the chat to do that? I'm not sure I get it. Good luck with the acupuncture. I credit with my dodging a hip replacement. Yeah, I'm not like super sold on acupuncture. I mean, there is some decent literature on that, and you know, I'm gonna try it just for more than anything, for probably maybe fun more than anything. No, I think we'll see. It's not gonna help with the cervical radicular etiology. It's not gonna make the herniated disc shrink or get smaller, which is ultimately what has to happen for this to ultimately heal. And that's what happens. You know, you have this disc material that squirts out, and then your body eventually can resorb that. It doesn't always, but it often can. There's pretty good MRI literature showing that in many cases these discs resorb, depending upon the size, location, whether it's sequestered or not, you know, those types of things. So the acupuncture likely to help with some of the secondary symptoms, which would be kind of the muscle spasm, because I'm constantly having to keep my head kind of canted in a certain direction to take the pressure off there. So that's what the acupuncture may have some benefit in, I think. How will you be changing your macros? What are you changing? Yeah, basically, like I mentioned, I'm gonna be consuming less calories. I'm going to be consuming a higher percentage of fat to protein. And, this is all in an effort just to drive a little deep, a fairly deep ketosis. In fact, when I checked this morning, my ketones were 2.6 millimolar, which for me is the highest I've ever seen it in my life. I've never had them that high, at least that I've ever measured. It may have been high and I haven't measured it, but that's the highest I've ever seen on a measurement. Before, I'd never seen anything much above about 1.2 or something like that. So it's definitely putting me in a a state of ketosis. Now, um, will that actually have an effect? The literature says there's a reasonable chance it will. So I'm going to pursue that. So far, clinically, have not seen like a major difference with regard to that. Now, what I will do is I'll probably lean out and lose a little weight because I'm in a caloric deficit as well. So, I mean, at least it'll be that side bit. I'll get nice and lean while I'm doing this. Okay, we got Wordo Pencom. Pray you're having a speedy recovery. Well, thank you very much. I was the first, JG, I was the first help the doc out. Okay, thank you. Carnivore Cat, have you thought about spinal decompression, PRP, and/or stem cell treatment? So yeah, I mean, I know all. I mean, I literally used to operate on people's spine as a surgeon, for at least part of my career, particularly during my training. I didn't specialize in spine surgery because I didn't like spine surgery very much. I preferred like hip and knee replacements and stuff like that. But I've got a lot of experience. I'm pretty well versed on treatment modalities for that. And honestly, PRP, stem cell stuff, there's not a lot of great. I mean, I know there's people that are strong advocates for it. There's anecdotal reports, but the overall literature on that is at best weak. Decompression, I mean, depending on what you mean by that, I mean, there's surgical decompressions, which clearly work, but again, it's a surgery and it has a lot of potential risk and downsides. And then there's like traction, cervical traction, inversion tables. And I have tried, and they have some efficacy, I'll say. Okay, I have MSG. I don't know if that's multiple sclerosis ghee or what that's about, but interesting. Do I eat garlic powder, black pepper? Says Jordan Black. Once in a while, like if I make sometimes if I cook up a brisket, I'll sometimes do salt and pepper for sure. Once in a while, salt, pepper, garlic. Not often. I don't have it often, but every once in a while. 455, can muscle inflammation from a workout injury stall weight loss from an injury? Now, I'm not sure what the when you mean by an injury. If it's an injury where it caused you to lose mobility or decrease your activity level, then certainly yes. I mean, you just kind of, or you're kind of splinting an injury where you don't want to move as much. Yeah, I mean that could potentially do that. I don't know if it's necessarily the muscle inflammation that's doing it. Maybe just the overall reduction in activity that would do that. Cat Can wants to start. What's wrong with the doc? Yeah, just like I said, neck injury 7 weeks ago. Jiu-jitsu. My 250 pounds and another 200-pound guy on top of me landed on my head and neck and caused a cervical disc injury to my neck, a little rupture of the disc, pressing on one of my nerves, and that's just been going on for the last 7 weeks. We got nutcase. I ate lamb ribs and a fat beef steak today with some beef liver. That sounds great. Mark 5, CBD oil helps with inflammation. All right, James Wood. Advice on not physically regressing from strength training while healing from upcoming hernia surgery. Well, I mean, obviously, depending on where, most surgeries, most hernias are either inguinal or abdominal or umbilical hernias. I'm not sure where the hernia is, but that's typically where they are. You're going to have some, obviously, you're going to have some restrictions while you're healing. I mean, I'm sure the surgeon will give you, I don't know, 6 weeks or something like that, depending on how big the hernia is, if they're using mesh or not. But I think you can probably, at the very least, you can work on isometrics, that's probably something you can do relatively safely. I mean, you're gonna, you're probably gonna regress somewhat, but minimizing it is, uh, a concern. Okay, the Don, is high triglycerides and high cholesterol fine on carnivore? Um, it de- Not necessarily, and particularly the triglycerides. No, I won't say that it's fine. I think there's some new. You just gotta have more information. That's all. I mean, why is it high? What else is going on? What's your overall metabolic health look like? What's your overall cardiovascular health looks like? What kind of imaging do you have? So I would say that potentially, depending on the reason, why was it, how high are the triglycerides? How high is the cholesterol? What was the circumstance between the high triglycerides? So I can't, that question is just not enough information for me to intelligently answer. But what I won't say is high cholesterol on a low carb diet or carnivore diet is absolutely fine. I just don't know that. Now, there's a lot of people that believe that, and there's some science that supports that sort of proposition. But for me to say, hey, just ignore cholesterol, I'm not willing to do that. Keto Mama, question: what is the truth on eating in grams of meat what you want to eat? 130 pounds, 130 grams. What is the truth on eating in grams of meat for what you want to eat? I'm not sure I fully understand the question. What I would say is, I think for a lot of people, uh, for a lot of people, uh, a gram of protein per pound of body weight is a decent place to be for maintaining and gaining lean mass, particularly if you're exercising. Some people would say even a little bit lower than that might be sufficient. If you're not eating carbs and probably eating a little bit more makes sense for a lot of people, depending on the situation. Like right now, my particular situation, neuroinflammatory condition, I'm going to limit those things a little bit. I'm still eating a decent amount of protein when I'm eating, but I'm not eating as much as I was. I'm shifting more towards fat. But I think for general maintenance mode, athletic development, strength training, then more protein is going to be better. And I think most people should be doing those things. Simon saying, "Look me up if I come to Gibraltar. I'll try to remember that if I get there. I don't know when I'm going to get there, but hopefully one day." Hello from Finland, says Turmir. Good to see you, Turmir. I think that's how you say it. I have a question. How can I avoid jet lag while on carnivore? I experienced it last year and was dreadful. Gosh, that's an interesting question. You know, it depends on the direction of the jet lag. Depends on how much of a time zone difference you're going through. If you're going like when I went to I mean, it's often much easier to, I think the easiest thing, honestly, is just suck it up, stay up like when I fly from the US to Europe, like I did, and I've got to go to Germany here in about a month. Um, what I'll do is I'll be up all night on the plane, and then I'll get there like in the morning sometime, and I'll be pretty tired because I haven't slept. I usually just stay up until as late as I can until bedtime. And I think that allows me to be exhausted when I do get to sleep, and then I kind of, you know, at least that gets a lot of it. Some people talk about melatonin, um, supplementation being a beneficial during jet lag. I think, uh, red light exposure is going to be something that we know uh, sort of, you know, it sort of it stimulates melatonin secretion. That's what's supposed to happen. What's supposed to happen is, we watch the sunset. As humans, we're out. I mean, think about what were human beings doing 50,000 years ago for excitement. They didn't have TV, they didn't have books, presumably. Maybe they sat around a fire telling stories or sat around watching the sunset because, sunsets are very kind of captivating to watch. So you get that red light exposure, and then it gets dark, and then melatonin starts peaking, and then you drift off to sleep. So when you're traveling, all those things have been hacked. So maybe if you got some chance to, like I said, stay up late, maybe supplement melatonin if you need to, maybe maybe more preferentially get some red light exposure and try that. So those are things I'd look into. And then also, line your eating up with the time zone you're in, because eating right before you go to bed, particularly a high protein meal, is going to disturb sleep in many cases. All right, we got Small Dave 777. Dear Shawn, wish you a quick fully ketone recovery. Thank you. I'd recommend Provis exogenous ketones if you want to leverage therapeutic GKI ranges. I had 0.2, 0.3 with that. And I drank normal keto OS. Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that. Yeah, the exogenous stuff. I'm gonna try to, obviously, I mean, I got 2.6 millimolar, this morning without really too much effort. So, I mean, I think that's gonna be fine. Smash the like, says LVC. Well, thank you for that. I don't know how, I'm not sure how the likes impact like lives, how it does that, but sure, why not? If you don't mind. All right, RN. Okay, Rebecca Bavary, RN, and CKNS. I'm not sure what the CKNS stands for, but good luck on the experiment. I really hope it works for you. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Then Nutcase is saying, then I had Greek yogurt with a bit of honey roast me. Eggs for diabetics, we already talked about. Naja Newhall, I hope you feel better quickly. Any suggestions what to do with an elevated potassium level? Thank you. Well, how high is the elevated potassium level? I guess I'd ask, because usually a lot of times people get, potassium comes back 5 or something like that, 5.2 or something like that. And often it's just the blood sample has been hemolyzed. So first thing I would do is check, because that's very commonly a reason for elevated potassium on a lab sample is just hemolyzed blood. So the blood cells have broken, from the trauma of the blood draw. And so repeat it is the first thing I do. And then, you can, insulin has been used to alter potassium. And so, if you're taking potassium supplementation, then I would obviously dial back on that. But again, without knowing much more, it's hard to say for sure. All right, we got a first sort of, I guess, super chat question. Hang on a second, I got to sneeze. Excuse me. Sitting in the sunlight made me sneeze, I guess. Okay, here's a $5 question from CJ Shrimpy. Fill my fridge with nothing but meat and butter. Excited to start Carnivore Day. Thanks for all you do, Shawn. Well, I wish you the best. Like I said, this treat carnivore as a therapeutic tool, and I think what is the goal here? Defeat food addiction, change your relationship with food. I think that's really a real essential part of this. Once you've done that, I mean, it just changes your outlook. It changes it changes a lot about your health experience. And it doesn't mean maybe you don't have to stay carnivore the rest of your life, but I think some people, they need that strict carnivore period of time to really change and kind of reset everything. It's like a do-over in many cases. It's like, hey man, I screwed up. I've been eating garbage for years. I got fat. I got out of shape. I'm chronically miserable, sick, depressed, whatever. And then you just, hit the reset button. All right, do that. Reset everything, and then you can take a fresh look and say, hey, I can feel better. A lot of times it changes your outlook. It changes your perspective. It gives you hope. A lot of people just don't have hope. They're like, I've tried all this stuff, tried all these supplements, I've tried this and that, it doesn't work. And this is sometimes the first thing where people actually start to see a way out of the hole they're in. And so hopefully that sort of, again, I'm just speculating, but anyway, good luck to you, man. Let me know how it goes. Keep us updated. I'll try to do on these lives from time to time and go from there. All right. John Osborne, great to see you. How's the new diet? Well, it's day 3, so we'll see. It's fine so far. Get the DNA test for food inflammatory. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that is. Yeah, Smalley Dave's talking about his ketogenic ketones. Share this video with a friend, says LVC. Well, thank you for that. GKI was around 2 to 3, which is amazing. Yeah, I checked my GKI this morning. I think it was like 2.3 or something like that. So I think my what do you call it? My fasting glucose was 75 and my ketones were 2.6. So all right, we got, what does it say? Rilacan or something like that. Is there any, Wow, the numbers are keep. Is there any protein powder that's good for carnivores? Most of the stuff has additives and sweeteners. Um, well, I mean, there are some on the market. I mean, it's kind of interesting. There was a product that I believe Milo. It was well, I don't remember the name of the actual product. I'm gonna open the windows down. It's getting hot in here, so hang on a second. I can hear the kids yelling in the background. There was a product that Milo made. Well, here's one. I know for sure because I can know the name of this. And there's a company called Equip, that makes a plain unflavored protein. It's literally nothing but beef isolate. That would be reasonable, So that's one right there. So Equip, EQUIP, I think. What else we have here? What's up, Shawn? Keep doing what you're doing. I've been carnivore for 6 years, says Jim Insco. Well, good for you, Jim. Hopefully doing as well. Yeah, like I said, I'm almost to my 8th year coming up, so it's getting there. How bad is Diet Coke, says Nutcase. How bad is it? I mean, relatively things better than regular Coke, I'd say. Probably not. I mean, it depends. I mean, I think that it depends on what your goals are. If you're just trying to lose some weight, Diet Coke is probably better than regular Coke. If you're trying to deal with some sort of medical condition, autoimmune condition, food addiction, then maybe it's not the best. We got Sperling said, just bought your book. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for that. It's a carnivore diet for you guys who are interested. Yeah, I wrote that book. First, I was, I don't know if some people know this, but I was a guy that sort of proclaim this way of eating the carnivore diet. It's not that I'm the first guy to eat just meat, but when I was on Rogan's podcast, publishers contacted me, wanted me to write a book about that. I think it must have been when I was on Rogan's podcast, and then and I was like, what am I going to call this thing? Zero carb diet, meat diet or whatever. So I just came up with the name carnivore diet, and it is, for whatever reason, that particular name has sort of taken over as this way of eating. And so, but I think it's a pretty good book. I mean, obviously I wrote it, so I'm kind of biased there, but I think that, that's a reasonable thing. All right, we got another question here, $4.99 question from Some Molecule. I like the name. Where can you order a quarter or half cow in Snohomish County? All I can find have been Eastern Washington, and I'm buying a freezer from Costco. I went to Forest Meats, and I got a half last year. So I know if you drive, like if you're in Snohomish and you drive up I-9 right by the airport, there's a sign talking about having beef there. So that might be a good place to look. So that'd be something. All right, I got another $4.99 question, and then I'll probably have to. My son's just finishing up, so here's a question from Roy. Oh, it just says number 1. Okay, thanks, Rory Wilson. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for that. My son just finished his class, so I'm gonna have to head back, guys. Good. You guys enjoy your Sunday. It's great talking to you, and I'll try to do more of these lives. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.